Welcome to the Gabe Gallucci Golf Show.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the first live episode of the Gabe Gallucci Golf Show. Very pumped. We're in Atlas Academy here, and to my left, we have someone I've actually been really wanting to interview for a while. Ever since he shellacked me in an open qualifier, he didn't know he was playing against me, but I was very much aware at the end. We've got some cool stories about this guy. He is a professional golfer from here in British Columbia. Everybody, welcome Jake Lang to the podcast.
Thanks, Gabe.
Buddy, so first off, I want to go back to your origin story, but I want to talk first that you're a current tour player on the PGA of Americas.
Yes.
And you qualified for the Canadian Open last year.
Yes.
So you are a phenomenal golfer.
Yeah. No, I'm all right.
You are a very, very good golfer. You strike the shit out of it.
Thank you.
It's very cool to watch. And so I want to kind of reverse engineer back to, you had a huge highlight, obviously, last year in 2024, making the PGA Tour event of playing the Canadian Open, which for us in Canada is like our hallmark.
Yes.
Basically tour event, right? So let's kind of reverse engineer back from there. You starting golf, I've heard, you're from Saskatchewan originally, and it was a hickory club from your grandmother that just kind of kicked you off into golf, and you were like beating rocks into a field.
Yeah.
So how do we go from beating rocks in a field in Battleford, Saskatchewan to a PGA Tour event?
Yeah, it's a good question. I don't.
Okay, now I'm just going to sit back and listen. No, but tell me about you've obviously developed into quite the player, and you were amazing in college at Appalachian State. You have a great record. You've got a couple wins, tons of top tens, absolutely crushed it. But again, so starting kind of in your origin story, starting in a climate both between Saskatchewan and in Fort St. John where you grew up, not golf places. Like this is not a hot, you're not from a place that cultivates golfers.
No. So
how did you become who you are?
Yeah, good question. In Saskatchewan, it was, I was a baseball player originally, I guess. I was really a good baseball player. I was a good pitcher, and I was really good at pitching, but I really liked, batting the ball. I guess that's how it probably started.
Okay.
I really like
you just want to hit
batting the ball, just hitting something really hard, And then I saw grandma, she was always going to the golf course just with the girls, maybe like ladies' night once a week kind of thing.
Okay.
She did a golf trip with the ladies like once a year, and so there was clubs like lying around the farm, and then so naturally I'd pick them up and just hit things with them and whatever, rocks, and eventually, obviously, grandma bought me balls. Eventually, like in the Walmart tub. I've told this story before. It's like people think, we didn't have money for balls or something. Like grandma bought me balls, obviously.
Yeah.
Later on, but yeah, it was like a 20, 25 acre farm, and I'd hit those balls around the farm for. That was ages. I was probably 6 years old. Did that for the whole time I lived there till I was about 10.
Okay.
Just
so wide open fairways on that place just to hit balls everywhere.
Yeah, and then
because it's very flat in Saskatchewan. For our American friends, it's like that's middle America flat, right?
Yeah. I'd get home from school and that's just what I do. I'd hit them and just chase them around just the farm all day. That's all I did, and I'd beg grandma to take me to the golf course. Then I think after about a year, she did. Because you're a young kid, right? You got to leave your kid at the golf course all day, right? But it's pretty safe. So I think when I was about eight, she would start leaving me at the golf course all day, upon my request. And that's where I lived, man. I lived on the range and just lived on the course and figured everything out. Grandma taught me how to hold the golf club, but honestly, and she would admit that too, like that's it.
Right.
And it was baseball grip. It wasn't even like,
interlocker,
right grip or whatever. I don't think there's a right grip, but it was baseball grip, and that's just I taught myself how to do everything in regards to like curving the ball and putting it forward and back in your stance. Like I didn't have anyone to really tell me that stuff.
So you built it was almost like you built a lot of instinct.
Yeah, a lot of instinct, because I just didn't have, like you said, in Battleford, Saskatchewan, you just don't really have the resources. And then living on the farm, like you don't have the resources for good coaching or, and I don't even wish I did have coaching. Like it taught me a lot of really, really valuable stuff about, golf that I take with me now still. Like figuring it out on your own, and having that kind of grit, because you can tap into things that you taught yourself way back when,
Right.
that worked. So yeah, that's how it all started, and then some family stuff happened. I ended up moving back with my parents in Fort St. John.
Okay.
It wasn't any better.
Which is like northern BC,
Yeah,
right?
way up, 4 hours north of Prince George.
Okay. And
So,
where is
like-
that in relation to Vancouver? Sorry. From my own geography.
It's like straight north, 13 hours.
Oh, so that's like Alaska north.
Yeah, it's probably like 1,000. It's probably like 1,000 clicks from the Northwest Territories.
Okay.
Like
Oh,
just
wow.
south of that.
So that's very north.
Yeah, it wasn't any more
And
of
remote.
it wasn't any more of a golf culture. That's for
No,
sure.
no. And so how did you foster and what clubs are you using when you're in Saskatchewan before we get to St. John?
Oh,
Like,
in Saskatchewan, yeah, like it was just hand me down like ladies clubs for probably the first 2 years, and then I got a set of McGregor irons.
okay.
That's what they were called. But it was like a legit like 4-through pitching wedge set.
Yeah, yeah.
So it was cool. And then whatever drivers we could find, like kind of Walmart kind of drivers. But
And how many golf courses were near you in Saskatchewan? Like
there was one that had it was kind of a golf course. Like it was like 9 holes. It was literally like a pin in like it was like a sand. There was like sand greens. And
no
shit.
way.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
But that wasn't the one I practiced at. I played, it was that one, and then there was North Battleford Golf and Country Club, which, to be fair, was actually decent for Saskatchewan standards, for sure. Like, it's one of the better courses in Saskatchewan. So, yeah, there was basically one golf course.
Right. Yeah, one complete golf
Yeah,
course.
yeah.
And so then you moved to Fort St. John.
Yeah.
And winter there would be like
Yeah,
you're
it's like
getting what, 4.5 months of golf? Maybe
No,
5
it's-
months?
Oh, no. I mean,
It's
yeah,
cold
it's
up
like,
there till
It's like 2.5, 3 good months. And then the fourth is like October's kind of iffy. Kind
right.
Of thing.
You're just
Yeah.
you're just trying to make it to Thanksgiving before.
Yeah. So that was hard. That was ages 11 to 16.
Okay.
Yeah, just doing that, which kind of sucked because by the time you're 16, you're like, okay, well, the natural progression here is like getting a scholarship,
Right.
and so that needs to happen. But like, I'm doing good the 3 months out of the year that I can play. Like, me and my dad would, like, we didn't no idea what we were doing. Like, okay, well, what do we do for tournaments? Like, there's no tournaments up there to
Right.
like build a resume to go to a D1 school or anything. Like, there's Zone 8 events. Like, the amount I played in so many, that's what the zone up there. It's the last zone, Zone 8. And like, I played in so many events where there was like I played in 2 events where I was actually the only participant. And then like, but there was other ones where it was like there's always only 2, 3, 4 of us
Right.
that actually played golf in like I don't know if it's any better or worse now. Hopefully better. But yeah, there was always only like 2 or 3, 4 of us in that zone that actually played golf, that enough to where you could sign up for a tournament.
Right.
You know?
That's
I
wild.
know, yeah.
So what gave you kind of the inkling around that time that you're like, you know what, I'm good enough to like I can golf is more than just a thing in my life. It is something I'm gonna go for.
Yeah, I mean, it was from age 8, 7 or 8.
You just
in
loved- you just
Saskatchewan.
loved it.
Yeah, like I was gonna be the best in the world. I was gonna have every record in the world, and like
Got
that's
it.
just how my mind, like, oh wow, I can make money at this, and so I had this really delusional confidence.
But when did you get it reinforced with like good play?
Good play, pretty early on, actually. That was
Okay.
a part of it because I was a bigger kid. I'm not huge now, but like I was a very big kid growing up. So naturally, I was always a little bit better at sports when I was a kid, just because I'm bigger than everyone else.
Right.
So it's like I'm always like the best in the track and field, like winning every event in track and field, but not because you're crazy good, just because you're bigger. Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
So you built that competitive edge and you're kind of rolling through. So now, you're 16 and you're like, I need to figure out a way to get to college. So what do you do?
I had to tell my parents, like, I need to go to Vancouver Island, or Vancouver. I need to live there,
Right.
right? And so my dad needed to stay up there to. My family's always been up there. They're in the natural gas pipeline industry business. So dad needs to be up there to work at that time.
Right.
Still does. But I need to go down there. And they understood that, right? So mom, we bought a place in Qualicum, or rented a place in Qualicum. That was grade 10. It was 16. Mom came with me. And so that was hard on them, right? Because then they're separated. And
do you have siblings?
I got a couple sisters.
Okay, so
Yeah.
so did the sisters come with you, or did the sisters stay up north with your dad?
They came with us.
Okay.
Brooklyn came with us. My younger sister.
Oh,
Older
wow.
one was graduated, but
So your dad's just kind of up there, landman, just
yeah. I mean, it was
doing the oil pipeline gas
that's
and
the sacrifices my family.
yeah,
has
that's
made for me
wow.
as well.
That's
pretty awesome.
That's a lot.
But it was it was tough It was a tough decision. You're leaving all your friends from home,
and it's tight knit
all
community
that.
up there, I would assume.
Yeah, it's one of those communities. Like if you're born there, you kind of stay there.
Right.
It's
Yeah, you're born and
like
bred.
it's not a academic world really. Like it's all trades and
Yeah.
like a lot of my friends up there, like they didn't graduate high school. Like you don't really need to up there. It's a different culture. Like you go into a
Right.
trade and you build a good life for yourself doing whatever trade stuff, and that's kind of and that's fine. I'm not judging that. It just wasn't what I wanted to do.
Right.
I wanted to be an athlete.
Right.
So my parents make that sacrifice for me. Mom comes down to Vancouver Island in Qualicum, and I spent grade 10, 11, and 12 there, and I won multiple like provincial titles for my school, and was able to play all the Zone 6 events, like junior events at that time, and won a few of those. So it was, it was probably the best decision. It was the best decision I probably ever made. Like I needed to make that sacrifice.
Right.
It would have been easy for me to just say I'll stay up north and whatever, send my resume out and see what happens. But it's like that wouldn't have worked.
Right.
Like you needed to make that sacrifice.
And
to
did you
go
feel
down
the
south.
pressure of like my whole family's kind of making a big move? I gotta play good golf,
Yeah.
which, like, kind of bringing to that competitive edge you built up. Like, clearly you've got that resilience, but it's a big like as an adult now, you kind of look back and you go, man, that's a big move to make for your kid, and you obviously delivered on that. But you could have just as easily not.
Yeah, exactly.
You
I
know?
mean, but that's the thing. It was different at that time because, like you said, like now you look back at it, like wow, like that was kind of there might have been a lot of pressure there with all
Right.
those sacrifices. But at the time, it wasn't even like in
You
my
just did-
head.
Oh, cool.
I didn't care. Like I didn't think about that at all. Like in my head, I was going to be the best, and it was a no-brainer that I was going D1.
Right.
And it was not cocky. I really did have that belief.
Yeah.
Like it's no brainer.
cool.
I'm going D1, and then I'm going to go pro, and then this and this and this, and I knew it was going to happen that way.
Mm.
So, yeah, I mean, I didn't have any pressure at that time. Like I knew I was always going to be the hardest worker, and like the results were just going to come.
Mm.
And yeah, it was that kind of delusional confidence at
Yeah.
that time that just kind of kept me going. Because I wasn't worried like, is this not going to work out or something? Like I never really thought like that.
No, that's cool. Like
Yeah.
that's telling. Like of just of like the belief in your skills and like. And have you always been that kind of person, or do you feel like that was cultivated through like the reps and the hard work you put in? Like, are you somebody that like is it validated through the hard work, or you just naturally have that kind of like gift of confidence of being like, no, I believe in myself. Like I know I'm going to do it.
Yeah, I mean, it's as far back as I can remember. So it has to be just like an innate thing. I just believe like if I do something enough, I will be good at it.
Mm.
So if I have unlimited time to be this golfer guy, which I did,
Right.
then like I'm gonna get good at it. I'm gonna find a way to get good at it, whatever it is.
Mm.
And that's just the case with many things in my life, or any hobbies that I have. Like if I really dive into it, like I can figure this out.
And,
And
is that mom or dad that is kind of that you get that from? You think, or is it a combination of both?
Both, but probably dad. I mean, he's pretty competitive too. He was a really good hockey player and stuff.
Mm.
But yeah, it's weird, man. I really feel like I've always been that way.
That's cool. That's
Yeah.
really cool. So you're crushing it in high school. You're playing the local events here. At what point do you so you end up at Appalachian State,
Yeah, I actually went to
but you went to
a smaller D1
right.
called
Bethune.
Bethune-Cookman in Daytona Beach.
So one was
1
that.
year.
How many D1 offers did you get? Were you able to kind of solicit? And then what made you end up there first?
Well, it was money. It kind of came down to money, and that was a big part of it. Like I had lots of offers, but it's like, who's going to give you the most money combined with the best location?
Right.
Right.
Because you don't want to be.
So it's
you
like-
want to practice all year and.
Yeah, and that was like another kind of really good decision I made, because a lot of kids nowadays, they make mistakes going kind of batting above their average with where they'll go, even though because they got like a 20% offer and then they'll never play.
Right.
Right,
You,
so,
'cause
but-
you- because you need reps, right? You
Yeah,
gotta-
exactly. So it's like there was my old coach Danny Forche. He recruited me, and like he said, he really believed in me. He said, I'll give you a full ride to Bethune-Cookman. I had never heard of Bethune-Cookman, and yeah, they're not that good in D1, but like they're like 220, 50 or something in D1. Like
Right.
they're kind of bottom of the barrel.
But you're
D1.
gonna play. And
But
you have somebody that
I'm
believes
gonna
in you.
I'm gonna play, and it was a full ride. That was honestly and it was full ride in Florida. So I'm like, okay, well, how bad can this be? Like,
Mhm.
it's gonna be good, right? So that's why I went there, and that was just a really good decision.
And leading up to that, you hadn't had a lesson, from what I've researched.
No, not written. No, like in ages when I was on the island, ages 16, 17,
Yeah.
I got connected with Robert Ratcliffe. He teaches at Story Creek now, coaches for Team Canada, men's
Okay.
team and stuff. So I was at his academy for like a year in age grade 11. So that was grade 11. So I'm 17. Right.
Mhm.
That was the first when I started to kind of someone telling me what to do,
Right.
or how to improve. Yeah, that was the first time. And I was 17. But yeah, very little coaching at all. But by the time I'm going into D1,
And so
Yeah.
now you're at D1, and how does it work with coaches? At a D1 program, because you have this amalgam of different people who have different swings, and so what
Yeah.
do they? How do they coach you?
yeah, I mean it's tough, man. Like it's a weird job because yeah, it's like, are you gonna act like a swing coach to everyone on the team, or are you just gonna be a glorified bus driver? Or like it's a really weird job.
Right.
And like everyone is different, man. I ran through 3 different coaches through my D1 career. So yeah, I can speak on it a little bit. Like my favorite coach is one that's like very hard on you, like and really is invested in you and not afraid to sugarcoat anything. Like they'll tell you, you're acting like a crybaby or you need to fix this or that, without getting too technical. Like, can really just shoot it to you straight. Right. And then and that was Danny Forche at Bethune. But I've also had coaches where, they are basically just glorified bus drivers. Like they'll get you to the event. They coordinate the tournaments. In regards to actually coaching you, it doesn't really exist. I've had that too, so yeah, it's a weird job, man, that college coaching. It's weird.
Okay. Interesting. And so, what made you transfer from there to Appalachian?
Well, I really liked Danny Forche, my coach at Bethune. He got an offer to go to App. That's why I
Okay.
went there.
Got it.
I was following him wherever he went
Got
because
it.
he was my guy. So.
Got it. And you did very well there.
At App, that's when I started to, I had freshman year at Bethune, and I played a ton, learned a lot, got better. And then when I got to App, that's when I started to really like rack up some top 10s and 5s, and then into my junior year, eventually wins.
And you
stuff
went
like
back to
that.
back.
Yeah,
events.
I did. Yeah, there was, I got a few records there. Yeah, it was good.
And from what I've heard, again, it's like the way it works, and correct me if I'm wrong, it's like you guys have to play like a team qualifier to then go to the travel events, right?
Yeah.
So it's like on the team, you guys are, how many of them are you?
I think there's a limit now. It's 9, but like when I was playing, it was like 10 or 11.
Oh, God. And then how many travel? 6?
6, 6 or 5 depends. 6 if they're letting an individual play, which I never saw the point of personally. But but 5 travel. Because 5 play, 4 scores count.
Right.
Right. You can only. Yeah, it's a 5-man team.
Okay. And then what kind of schools are you guys going up against?
We were in the Sun Belt Conference, so like Georgia Southern, Troy, JMU, schools like that.
Okay.
Though they were in our conference, and we played against a ton of other teams and stuff like, Auburn those are the teams in our conference.
And then COVID got in the way of your kind of school run a little bit, right?
A little bit. North Carolina was pretty good with it. They canceled conference in my junior year, which sucked. But other than that, that was about it, really. Like they just canceled conference. We still got to play tournaments. There was like 5 events where we had to it was 5-somes and we played as a team. Like we teed off in 5-somes with your own team. That was their way of
that was the way of
like,
isolating.
segregate. Yeah.
Okay.
Stupid. Yeah. Anyway.
Interesting.
It was. I mean, but we were still playing. Like
Right.
a lot of D1 wasn't even playing. So it's like we were grateful at that time.
Right.
So that was good. So there was no big break in there in my career, which I'm thankful for.
And so you wrap your career, you crush it at Appalachian. You got some wins. Like, what's the headspace of like? You're like, okay, I'm clearly a good player.
Yeah.
Like I can win at D1 level. Where do you go? Like, how far out from like graduating or finishing that are you kind of going? Okay, what's my pro move here? How do I transition out of this? Like, what's the thinking and the strategy there?
It was pretty simple. Like the last putt I hit at conference, our last event, like that was my last putt as an amateur. Like I'm going pro. There's no like waiting for a summer to see if I'm good enough or some bullshit. Can I swear? Like,
Oh yeah.
If some bullshit, like it's just not like I don't never thought that way. Like that's
Okay.
that's the last putt I'm hitting that isn't for money kind of thing. Like that's just how it was. So that was
Kind of speaks to your mindset. Did you qualify for the USAM or did you go after any of those things?
no, that was always in the summer, and I worked every summer that I wasn't at whatever. Wasn't the
Right.
academic.
So you were
season,
working, and
right?
so you tell me you're working at the oil fields,
Yeah,
which is so. And where are this is up
like
in,
natural gas pipeline. I worked here in Chilliwack actually for a summer.
Oh no way.
Yeah, yeah.
And so how are you balancing training and working? Because like it's not slouch hours doing that job.
No,
That
it's
is an aggressive
6 to
job.
6 days a week. Yeah.
So how are you? I would be like, I'm not practicing enough. Like how do you like that would freak me out.
Yeah.
What were you just like? Nah, this is my time off. I got to go crush it. I got to go make money.
Yeah.
And then I'm, again, maybe it goes back to your self-belief. You're like, I'm not going to lose my skills. I just need to go make money and then I'm going to come back.
Mm-hmm.
Is that like, how did you go through the summers not grinding all day?
Yeah, I mean, it was a sacrifice you had to make. Like, because you always heard these stories, like, oh, guys, they tried to go pro their first year and they ran out of money and all this stuff. It's
Right.
like, okay, that's a reality. Like, I'm sure that happened, so we need that not to happen. So
Right.
it's like we worked all summer, and because you make good money doing that.
Yeah.
So
But it's a grind.
it's just the sacrifice you had. Like, it's just the sacrifice you had to make, man. And then here in Chilliwack, it was pretty crazy hours. Like I said, 6 till 6, 6 days a week. And so, yeah, I've been on this range at like 7:30, like after work, like whatever, quite a few times. I didn't go every day, but like, so you still got a little bit of reps in.
Right.
But when I was working in Dawson Creek, like the hour I got off at like 5, but it's not light for that long up there. So it's like I woke up like crazy early. Like I'd wake up at 4:30 or something and then jump the fence and practice in the morning and then go to work all day kind of thing. So,
Right.
I don't know. You just do
figured
whatever
it
you
out.
can to keep warm. But yeah, I didn't even really need to do that. I knew I needed money for pro golf.
Right.
Period. So
So you just stockpiled.
yes.
And how many
Yeah.
how many summers did you do that?
Three out of the 4. Yeah, the first one I didn't. Last 3
Crazy.
worked. Yeah.
So you hit your last putt as an am, and then what's your next play?
It was well, I was gonna wait for Q school because I ended in May, so I'm waiting like 2 months or something for Q school here
Yeah.
at Crown Isle.
Yep. Because that's always the last Q school for the Canadian tours.
Yeah, but I'm
sit Crown
at that
Isle.
time like I'm gonna do that. That's my next step.
Right.
And so I'm for 2 months. I'm playing on the Vancouver Golf Tour,
Mhm.
and which was awesome because it got me so excited because like my very first event, like it didn't seem like I played that well or anything, but I got paid like $1,300. And I was
Right.
just like, oh my God, this is the best thing ever. Like I'm like $1,300. It was
To
aw-
do
it was
what I've been
aw-
doing for free.
Yeah, like it was just perfect. Like I didn't miss 10 cuts and then make a $40 check. I was like, oh my God, I made this. And then I did it again the next week. And then I won an event for like 5K. And then it got me, it was such a hot start. Like first month and a half, making like 10 G's. It's like, oh my God, this is great. I love this. Right. So
Right.
it was a dream start to the, cause that's all I really wanted to do. I really get excited at the thought of making money playing golf. And that's what I did for the first month and a half before Q school. And it was just that, to me, that was the best start. I've been, hooked playing for money, doing the pro thing ever since then. So that was.
And then how did that Q school go?
That was in 22. Oh, bro. April, May, June. That wouldn't have been in 23. No, yeah, it was. It was in 23. No, I had to play the VGT because I think I missed. I missed at Crown.
Okay.
Yeah, it was in 22. I graduated in 22. I missed in 22 at the Q school, and played the VGT all the rest of the way until I played Corn. It was at the time it was Corn Ferry Q school in the fall, and I was still making money in the VGT, doing really good, having fun, but no status yet. So I had that first miss Q school. Then I played Corn Ferry Q school, missed that.
First stage, second stage.
Yeah, I missed first stage. I got through pre-qualifying quite easily, and then first stage missed, and then we're headed into the winter months with no status, which kind of sucks. But I'm
Right.
still excited because
Right.
I'm making money. That's why I'm so thankful for the VGT around here. Like it's just not everyone gets that opportunity to still make that money if you're one of the better players and have fun doing it, all sleeping in your own bed, living in Vancouver. That kind of weathered the storm through those first 2 missed Q schools,
Right.
which was awesome. And then
And that's how I first kind of came across hearing about you.
yeah,
Was I would see, having played a couple VGTs myself, I follow Fraser is always good at waving
Yeah.
the flag, and I would see just your name pop up constantly, and I was like, oh shit, this guy's here all the time. Like
Yeah.
he's just there. So what year did you get through Q school to get your status on PGA Tour Canada?
yeah. So I just explained 2022, and that's leading up to the winter months, so 2023, and then yeah, kept playing the VGT till the next Q school, June 2023, and then that was a really important week for me. I got top 10 gets their full card at PGA Tour
Right.
Canada.
Yeah,
Q
because there's a
school.
whole issue with reshuffles and status and
you
can
top 25 get status technically,
Right.
right? But you shouldn't be showing up to get top 25. Like top 10 get their full card.
right.
So, and yeah, it was a crazy week. I end up T9 with 4 other people at the end of the last round. I shot 67 in the last round, and I end up T9 with 4 other people. So you have to go into a playoff. They're only given 10 cards, right? Like full cards,
Got it.
right? And then, yeah, I birdied the first 2 holes of the playoff. But so did the other guys, which was kind of crazy. Definitely thought on number 2, I was good enough. Anyway, and then on number 3, I make a really good par on number 6. We just jumped over to number 6, and they both bogeyed, and then I 2-putt for the full card. That was a
Sick.
pretty important, still probably the most important kind of round tournament of my life, in my opinion. Like that was everything kind of coming together, and to have some full status was pretty sweet. And I had never played a PGA sanctioned event before. So that was, that was pretty important to me that week in June 2023 when I made it through that Q school.
That's awesome. And so now you've like that changes your whole schedule. That changes your whole
life,
plans because now top 10 is because there's a reshuffle halfway through the season, right?
Yeah, after the fifth event.
So that guarantees you just those 5 starts.
Just the 5 starts, yeah,
Right.
It did. Unless you won. Now it's different. Now like top 9 get their like full all season card.
Okay,
But at that time, 2 years ago, but you're guaranteed the first 5 events.
but then meaning what though? You have to do what in order to make it past the reshuffle?
Not much. A couple cuts. Like it's a points thing. Right?
Okay.
Like you gotta have a certain amount of points. It's not many points. It's like 8 or 9 points, which is equivalent to like a T30 finish or better kind of thing. And then you'll play the rest. Yeah, that's kind of how that works. It's a point system.
Okay, and then how did that season end up for you?
I mean, I ended up losing my card. I had a lot. I mean, I learned a ton, and I got better from it. How to deal with like a Monday to Sunday week, right? Pro-ams on Monday.
Yeah, what were kind of
Tuesday.
the biggest differences? Because you're going from the VGTs, which is like 1 or 2 day events.
Yeah, it's like
To now-
mini tour events. You don't really. There's not that much preparation. You show up and try and go make some money.
And it's the same courses all these courses.
Yeah, you can
not
go
do-
out without a practice round. You're just going to make some money, and that's it. You're just going to make money.
Right.
But this is like, okay, you're playing a pro-am on Monday that you're getting paid for, so you're going to want to do that. And then Tuesday is the practice round, like no pro-ams. So you want to get your practice round in that day. Wednesday is an invite-only pro-am. It's for the marquee players only. So that wasn't me. So it's like, okay, you're just hanging around Wednesday. And then you're playing Thursday to Sunday. After Sunday's done, you're doing it all over again Monday.
Right.
So it's like the next morning. So it's like, it's you got to learn how to manage that Monday through Sunday week.
And so you get burnt out? Like, did you go a little too hard or what? Like,
I mean, maybe, and that's the other thing. You're on the range on these nice courses with, Pro V1s on the practice range. It's like all of a sudden, for me, I booked everything way too late every week. Just didn't every single week, just like scrambling for flights and then on the range is nice and practice Pro Vs and everything. I'm hitting too many balls.
right.
Not even that I don't even want to. I'm just kind of bored. But then all of a sudden you find something that you don't like. And so you're hitting too many balls and then you're practicing too much because I can't chill. Like I have a tough time
Right.
chilling. So I made that mistake. Yeah, I made a ton of mistakes, but like they're common. Like it's
Yeah.
a lot of people.
It's growing pains of becoming a pro.
Yeah, but just I did everything wrong. That I made a few cuts and everything, but it's like I don't know. I did everything wrong that year. So, but it's like something you have to go through, I guess. It's like yeah.
So now you lose your card, and so now you're like, okay, I'm gonna rally. I'm gonna try and go Corn Ferry Q School, or what's kind of the end of season decision for that year?
I mean, yeah, you have to do Corn. If you're a serious pro, you got to do Corn Ferry Q School. Now it's called PGA Tour Q School.
Right.
I mean, you have to do that, in my opinion, or else I don't know what you're doing, to be honest. Like you got to be signed up for that event,
Right.
So I was and ended up missing that again at first stage, and then I did Asian Tour Q School.
Okay.
Actually got through Asian Tour Q School in the fall of 23, and went to Thailand, did final stage, got a little bit of, didn't play great, got a little bit of status, and didn't get any starts over there. But I had full status on the Asian Development Tour, but I didn't want to play that because the money wasn't good enough. So, little experience in Asia on the Asian Tour kind of thing.
And how are you evaluating your game? Because it's obviously it's quite different. Like you said, it's different than going to the VGTs and just showing up and let's make money.
Yeah,
It's like how are you analyzing your game? How are you kind of like trying to is it your ball striking that's an issue, or is it mental things? Like where are you kind of finding the lack of translation between your skill set and maybe the results you want?
I mean, yeah, that's a great question. I mean, It's a good one, man. That's just like, why aren't you performing how you want to perform? It's like, okay, maybe, yeah, the ball isn't going where you want it to go, but is it because, I don't know, you're psyching yourself out, or you're tired? Is it that? Like, these are the questions we ask ourselves as pros, because it's not always our swing. We don't want to mess around with our swing.
Yeah.
Like, it's easy to say, like, okay, yeah, I'm not performing well because my swing is bad. That's not always the case, I believe, especially in the higher levels. It's like, we're athletes. Like, I think I'm pretty good in my athletic move, like over the ball. So it's like,
Well, and that's why it doesn't
Yeah.
strike me that you would immediately go to technique as an issue. So when you're kind of in these situations and you need to rally the troops, so you're trying to sort through it, where are you going to or are you just kind of going, it's just not my week, and I'm back at it next week?
No, that's the thing. I'm going to try and find a way to get better. When you're going week to week on those big events, like, you don't have time to mess around with your swing, right? Like, there's just no time.
Yeah.
Like, it's mid-season, like, you made it there, so something went well. Like, you need to just show up and be an athlete and perform, right? So it's like, yeah, maybe there was isolated incidents. Maybe you got unlucky. Maybe, there's just, maybe you really did just miss a couple putts, and you missed by, I missed a lot of those cuts by 1 to 3 shots. So it's like, okay, well, things aren't really going that bad.
Right.
It's like, yeah, we got to find a way to get better, but we got to just go into the next week with a good headspace, and not in the head. You try and never go into the week thinking, oh, I just want to make a cut. Like, you got to be showing up to go and win.
Yeah.
Right. A lot of it's a mindset, man. Like, it really is.
No, it sounds like you have a very like that, and that's why I'm kind of interested to see where you go to try and solve problems, because you seem very good at staying positive about yourself, and just kind of not like you don't seem to get down on things, which is an incredible like skill, and it's so that's why it's like it's such an asset. It's interesting to kind of hear how you go. Okay, well, I'm just going to figure it out. So is it just a time thing? You just need more at bats to figure it out?
I don't know. Like, eventually, like, if you're playing not great for a long time, it's like, okay, let's go work with coach in the off season and see what, but it's always been so hard for me to make swing type changes, because I was never used to making them, like, up until I was basically 20, right?
Right.
Like, never messed with your swing. I never took a swing video. Like, what are we going to look at? Like, like, I have no idea. Like, I have no idea what to look at. Right.
Right.
Like, I'm just trying to feel this and feel this and feel this and face the adversity mentally. And that can get you a long way, but it's like, it's a good question, man. At what point do you look to your swing? It's a question I'm still battling with. So I don't know.
And because from what I've seen, you don't have a ball striking issue. Like, and that's why it's more. It's
exactly.
like,
so
you don't have stripe the crap out of it.
Yeah, like,
right?
one of the hardest questions like a pro can ask themselves is like, what do I need to do to get better? Like, it's not a very obvious answer.
Yeah.
Like, it really isn't. Like, why did you hook that ball on that one hole? Like, why'd you do it? Like, obviously, yeah, the path is too far inside. The club face is close. Yeah, we know how it got there. But really, like, in the routine, how was your mental state? Like, were you thinking about it going left? Were you trying to push it out to the right? Were you nervous? Like, that's probably the real answer in why you messed up in that moment. It wasn't because of something in your swing, So that's what pro golfer, like, you really got to be honest with yourself of why things happened. If you really feel like, okay, no, my swing is messed up. Like, I was in a good headspace over that ball, and I consistently hit it poorly. Okay, let's go to the range with coach and maybe figure it out.
Yeah.
But you got to be honest with yourself about that, and it's different for everyone.
That's cool. Opinion. So you wrap up that season. You miss it. Corn Ferry. What's now it's like, okay, what's the next step? Because this is the end of 23.
That's the end of 23.
Yeah. So then,
Yep.
which gets us into
Yeah,
last
and
year,
then
which
gets us into last year,
which was a great year.
yeah, it really, I don't know, man. It was weird. Like it was just so many peaks, like crazy peaks, and then big valleys. Like I didn't make as much money as I wanted to. I got conditional status back on it's PGA America's tour now. Played like 3 events, not well. Yeah, things were. I was kind of felt like I was in a slump, to be honest, leading up to the Open qualifier. Like it felt like I was in a big slump. Like it was really weird how it happened. Like things weren't going well, and I just hitting it bad, kind of in a negative mind space because I just lost my card. I just missed Corn Ferry Q. I just messed up at finals at Asian Tour. And then I go a couple of months to the Open of not great golf. I made money on the VGT, that stuff, but it's like I was getting real negative, and I was like, hey, I'll go play the RBC, the qualifier, and I had low X. I knew I'd probably get through to the Monday that day.
Yeah.
And I'm still showing up to win, but it's like, geez, man, I was in a real kind of negative space. It's funny how golf works. Like,
Interesting.
Yeah, like I made a par on the first, easy par 5, like bad par, really bad bogey on 2, and I'm just like, I'm just kind of going with the flow. Like I'm not. Yeah, it was very weird how that happened, dude, because I wasn't in a great headspace going into that round.
Because I want to set this up for the listeners, because this is. So I'm really excited to talk about this, because I, as a dreamer and somebody who just like, one of the things I love about golf is the fact that these Monday things exist.
Sure,
Like these kind of things. Like
great opportunities.
in no other sport is there, you can't try out for the Leafs on Monday and play in Hockey Night in Canada on Saturday, right? So it's like, it's wild to me that this even exists. And, everyone who signs up for the qualifier, whether you have the chops or not, you envision like, well, what if I'm the guy? Like, what if I said, like, and I've signed up I think I've done it 2 or 3 times, and like, I know I didn't have the chops to make it through, but I'd be lying to you if I didn't say, well, but maybe today's the day, And so it was at Pitt Meadows, and that place, like, the greens were running really slick. It was set up well. Like,
it was good.
It was set up well. It was set up difficult. Very difficult, actually. It was playing hard.
It was a tough day.
It was playing hard. And I'm not just saying that because I blew up horrifically, but there were a lot of other really good players in the field that typically would score better than they did that day.
Yes.
Like there were some surprises of some people who are, and I just passively follow a lot of the pros here because I'm also fascinated by like all of your guys' skill level is a good, I like watching people who are ahead of me going, okay, like how do they play if we're playing the same course? What I like about the qualifier is it rallies all the best guys on the same day. And we're playing pretty, like, it just kind of shows me like where the real caliber of player is. And I showed up at my tee times in the afternoon, and I think you'd played in the morning.
Yeah.
And the score came in, and I looked at it and I went, oh shit.
Yeah.
Like that's, and to shoot 5 under at that place in the condition that it's in is like no fucking joke of a score. So it's funny that you're saying like you went in negative, because like, you first hole, although I don't know, that green on 1, like it's a tough little tight green. Like, and I think the pin was in the back left.
Yeah.
So like still not an easy birdie to make, but then you bogey 2 and then you just kind of found a comfort zone. Like what? Because you played bogey free to the end, and then you eagle 18, which we'll get into. How massive that eagle was. On 18. But what did you settle into that just kind of like came together?
Man, I don't know. You got to just take it like, especially when you have a bad start like that. Like you never really look to the end. Like you're just trying to. Golf is just the next best shot. Like the next shot. It really is. Like it's cliche, but that is all golf is the very next shot. Right. It's all that's a reality. It's all the only thing to be concerned about ever.
But you had opportunity from everything you've kind of said. Like you kind of could have been like, all right, well.
Yeah, you could have. I mean, I'm never one to give like.
But that's cool. Like it's cool that you didn't go there. Like, because you could have been like, stupid bogey. Like theoretically in your head, you probably should have been 1 under through 2.
Yeah.
In an ideal world, right? Thinking about how that would have played out, and you're like, I'm 1 over through 2. Like, this sucks.
Yeah. I
You
mean,
know?
that's also like that point you just made is like that's also like a big difference between amateurs and pros, though, especially like better pros,
Mhm.
is that like an amateur, maybe they'd be going into those 2 holes or front 9. They're like, okay, I should be at this point by that
There's an
point.
expectation.
Right. There's an expectation there.
Right.
Expectation usually leads to disappointment. It's like,
Yeah.
so it's like
Yeah.
you don't do that. Like, people ask what my game plan is for courses all the time. Like, my game plan is to hit the very first fairway. That is all my game plan ever is to hit the very first fairway. After that, it's wherever that ball ends up, I have a new game plan. But it's like, so that kind of leads, so I've always,
I like that a lot.
I've been pretty good at that.
I really,
right?
actually, I'm going to,
Because like you
take
said,
that for
like you
myself.
said, yeah, it's very easy. Okay, yeah. To me, number 1's easy. I also hit it 330 and with a cut. So it's like I expect to have an 8 iron in. So for me, it's like, okay, yeah, it's real shitty that I didn't birdie 1. And then I actually got an unlucky flyer on 2, which is like super annoying. And then you make bogey. So it's like, yeah, it's very easy to just, oh, it's not my day today, or I got unlucky, or now I got to make another birdie to get that back. It's like, that's all just kind of really like crybaby. Like, you really got to work on not thinking like that, because it's very easy to think like that. But like good pros, I'm not even saying I'm a good pro, but what they'll do is like at any moment during a round, we believe we can rattle off 3 or 5 birdies in a row.
right.
Whether we're 2 over on the 12th hole or just tripled the first hole, at any moment we can catch fire.
Right.
Because we've seen it happen. Like, and it'll happen sometimes even when you don't believe it's going to happen. But like
Right.
it will happen.
Right.
Like, so, you need to be ready for that and not checked out mentally. Right. So that's,
I like that. So you rally the troops, and again, to give the listeners context, like Pitt Meadows is a very, like, the golf course is very much in front of you, but it's like postage stamp greens.
yeah, small greens.
The rough was up pretty good. It was juicy.
Yeah.
And it was slick. So it's like you got to hit your shots. You got to golf your ball around there. Like there's no free shots
Yeah.
on that course. So, you get to 17 and you're 3 under.
Yeah, I just missed
Right.
a little bit. I knew, as a player, sometimes you can, at least for me, I'm really good at actually like guessing scores at Mondays,
Okay.
even throughout the round, because like you got to kind of play the round to like guess. I'm like, okay, well, I know in my head what I said to myself after like 17. Like I had a birdie look on 17, hit a really good putt, missed, and I'm at 3 under, and I know just in my head, this is what I'm telling myself, is that 5 is a good chance for a playoff. That's what I said to myself.
Okay.
Right. Like, you're in for the Monday, 10% get through.
Yeah.
Like even start. So
Yeah,
it's
you're
like,
going to
okay.
Toronto for the Monday.
Yeah,
but,
it's like,
but to win.
Yeah, it's like, I know, there's always a chance that one guy can shoot like 7 or 8, I guess. But it's like, I really knew, in my head, I kept saying like 5 is a good chance for a playoff. Okay. So, yeah, so I know I need to at least birdie 18 for a sweat, but like we got to try and eat.
And 18's slight dogleg left, par 5.
Yeah.
And actually, before we get to that one, hole 8, the par 4.
Yeah.
Do you lay up on that hole, or are you shipping it over the tree, like around the trees?
No, I don't draw a driver. I can't draw a driver. So.
Oh, but I wasn't sure. But even with your length, though, I don't know if you pound mini driver on that hole.
No, I mean, if I had any bit of right to left in my driver, I would. But I just lay up.
For listener context, this hole 8 there, it's like 220 to a creek, or if you can kind of ship a nice draw out there, you can kind of carry it over, and it makes the hole a lot easier.
Yeah.
But I was just curious with your length how you'd play that.
Yeah, no, I play that one safe.
Okay, well, 18 slight dog leg left if you can ship a draw on that one, but there's enough room to hit your fade.
That's the thing though. There really isn't, like, especially if you want to make eagle. Right?
Fair.
So that's the thing. So I'm actually on the tee box thinking, okay, we're gonna set up for the draw. Like, we don't really know. Sometimes it's a snapper. Sometimes it leaks way out to the right.
Okay.
Like, it's a volatile shot. Like, but I'm like, I have to try it, right? Because of, you might you don't want any regrets. Like if I could hit a weak little fade out there and go in the right trees and lay up and then 2-putt for par or make birdie, but it's like we don't want to do that.
Right.
Right.
Okay. So you're going for gold.
Yeah, we need to go. Yeah, we're going for gold for sure. And then it was
Pound the crap out of it.
Yeah, it was like a 25-yard draw, just 320, like right down the middle. Like it was okay, good. We're in the spot now where we got a clear look and we can try and get a good putt at it. So we go up there and, I draw my irons like quite a bit usually.
Okay.
And the pin's back right.
Yep.
And I'm just like it was that decision again. Like we can aim at the pin, draw it to the middle of the green, have a 40-footer. Like that's easy. I can do that. I could do 8-iron and middle of the green. It's going to spin left. I'm going to have 40 feet. Try and make a 40-footer. But it's like, I remember I had that conversation myself in the middle of the fairway. I'm like, no, let's just go for the cut. We'll just go for the cut with the irons, right?
No way. So you're going 2 unnatural shapes.
Yeah,
like
sure.
you're going against your stock shape with the driver to put it in play, and now you're going against your stock shape.
Yeah.
To hit to go pin hunting.
Yeah, but that's just I mean
But you believed it.
You had to give it a shot.
Yeah.
Right in my head. But,
and for listener context, short-sighting yourself to that pin with how slick those greens were.
No, you're done. Yeah,
was not a good play. There's a
No.
bunker there. Plus the rough is super juicy. Like getting up and down for birdie would have been a tall task to that pin.
Yeah,
Because it all slopes away from you too.
yeah,
So like to commit to a cut
yeah,
and put it like where it needed to go. That took some.
yeah. I mean, it took balls, but like I'd rather, man, I'd rather mess up trying to play lose it trying to play the right, risky shot rather than just kind of piss it away playing safe.
Yeah.
That's just how my mind. So if I leaked it right, whatever, I went for it. I can go
Right.
I go to bed that night. I don't get up and down and make par. It's
Sure.
like whatever. Dealt with it a million times. Like
So you step up and you just
and
you
it was just absolutely perfect and like 12 feet right behind the hole. And it was really funny how it happened. Like then Bryce Barker, my playing competitor, he had like he would even say like he had a really easy chip from like just left, like pin high left. And he hit it just like really not good. Like he missed it like from his angle would have been like 12, 13 feet to the left, right behind my ball mark. Right? Like right behind, like it was like a really uncharacteristic. Bryce is a great player, like really uncharacteristically poor chip that ended up right behind my mark. I'm like, okay, good. We don't even got to read it, right? This is a dream scenario. And he hit this putt that like it looks like it should break. He missed it on the high side, which I would have too. And because he hit a really good putt, just burned the edge. I'm like, okay, well, like there's like this is a no-brainer. Like my mom can make this one. Like really, like you just got to deal. You breathe a little bit. Like you have some techniques for dealing with that kind of pressure, right? it ain't rocket science. It's 12-footer. Like you just breathe a little bit and try and roll it end over end. Like that wasn't particularly difficult for me. The putt,
Yeah.
it was, but the fact that it went in right in the middle was pretty cool.
So that gets you to 5 under. And so now, again, for context, there was another. Was the other guy, the American guy who shot 4 under? Was he in already?
No, he was behind me.
Okay,
like
so
5
yeah,
holes or something.
so that just making that putt was massive because that put you a shot ahead.
Yeah.
Put you 2 shots ahead of him. I think he birdied 18. Looking at his scorecard, I double check, but now you're 1 shot ahead of him. So now there's no playoff from that wave.
Yeah, but that's the other thing. Like when that putt went in too, it's like there's no like huge fist pump or anything. Like it's not
because you don't know where
because I don't know. It's like I could miss by 2 for all I know. Like,
and you're in the morning wave, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So what time of day? This is like
I don't know. I probably finished at like 11:30 or something.
Right. So that's early.
Yeah, real early.
So now you're in for 5, which is great.
Yeah.
And now you have to sit there.
Yeah,
wait.
all day. All day.
Because you have to sit there and wait. So what is that feeling? Like you've posted a number.
Yeah.
Everyone who arrives is going, fuck.
Yeah.
Because again, for listener context, that score on that golf course at the way it was set up is a number.
Mm-hmm.
Like that was very well done. So it's like, so you're sitting there, but now what's the mindset of like, because you're also going to, there's a lot of great players who are coming in the afternoon wave. I could be in a playoff. Like, how do you deal with yourself for that time frame?
Well, I don't. I just write it off. Like
You're just
this
chilling.
is not happening. Well, no, I'm just in my head. Like in that situation, I just write it off. Like I'm just waiting for the 6 or 7 to come in. It's already lost.
Oh,
Like,
got
I'm already.
Got it. So you're not even excited yet.
I mean, no, I'm happy I played a good round, but in my head, because I don't like to get too excited and then be let
I would have
down in
struggled with
those
that.
situations.
I would have booked my plane ticket.
Oh no, I'd be like, I'm like, I'll wait around, but it's not like, because to me, like 5 under felt great, but like I
Right.
love Pit Meadows and I play it really well usually.
Okay.
So it's like it felt okay to me. It felt pretty good.
Got it.
Right. So I'm like, nah, Stephen LeCure, like somebody else is gonna. They'll just shoot 6 or 7, and then I'll be out of here. Like that was my mindset all day,
Got it.
pretty much.
So then at
All
what
day.
point do you start to go, wait a second, maybe that is enough?
Well, I mean,
Because
sounds bad, but like
everything's on Golf Genius. Like we're
yeah,
getting,
I mean, everyone,
like it's live scoring.
but there was like 20 like names that like I knew were good players
Totally.
that like could handle the pressure down the stretch and everything, and they're like, okay, 1 under, even, 1 over, 2 under, 3 under, and they're like, okay, well, I dodged them. But then there's a guy named Stephen LeCure. He turned in 3 under, and he's a really cool dude. Like he's awesome. He doesn't back down from anything.
No,
like,
and
he's not afraid. He could be at 5 under on the 15th hole, and he'd want to get to 8.
Yeah.
Like he's great. He's a good guy, Steven, and he's got that mindset. So I'm like, Steven turned in 3. He's playing good. Like Steven's gonna shoot 6 or 7 easy.
Right.
And he had just finished his round, and I went to the bathroom, and then I came out of the bathroom, and I looked at him. I'm like, did you get to it? And he's like, no, not today. And as soon as he said no, not today, I'm like, he's like, I finished 3. It's like, and then you kind of do the math. You're like, oh, well, there's a few guys left, but they're not going to do it. I mean, I'm like, I don't really know them. Like,
Yeah.
they're probably not going to do it. Steven was kind of the last guy I had to dodge.
Right.
And then when he said, nah, I didn't get it, I was like, geez, well, this is pretty cool. Might be going, right? And that was like another hour.
Right.
And then, yeah, nobody posted anything. And then,
So then
was great.
what's the feeling when you're like, holy, because this would be your first PJ Tour event.
yeah.
So what's the feeling when you go, holy fuck, I'm playing in the Canadian Open.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, man, it's just like I said, like leading up to it, like that wasn't really. I knew it was a possibility that day, but like I was kind of in a shit mood. Like things were just negative for like 6 months, like just like poor play and everything. So
Yeah.
it was kind of just a real. I had always said like my first PGA event that I'll play in is probably going to be the Open or like the Canadian Open or something. Like I always knew I'd play, the Open as my first event, but it was just like I really didn't think it was going to be that day. It was just like wow, this everything changes
Right.
in a day. Like truly everything changes because now, and then you got 2 weeks leading up to the event. Like there's sponsorship opportunities. There's a bunch of like admin stuff you got to do, and it's just your whole world just kind of changes in a day.
Yeah. Like what's the, and it kind of similar to, getting through Q school, but I'm sure it's on steroids of like a, like
yeah,
it's
I mean,
like,
it was similar. It was, I don't know, man. It was honestly just really weird because like Q school was like a rush. Like, I got like, this is a job. Like I just secured a job
Right.
for like, 6 months. Like this is sweet. Like,
Right.
and that was like, I don't know. I may have felt like more euphoria about Q school than
Okay.
the Open, to be honest. Like the Open was just like, oh geez, like this is crazy. This is gonna be fun though. But
Right.
it's just one event. Like I'm gonna have fun. Like this is gonna be awesome, But it wasn't. Yeah, it's different. It was a different feeling.
but also you were the first one, like we were the first site. So you were the first one to make it through.
yeah,
Right. So it's like press release goes out because there's only 4 sites, I think,
yeah,
that a medalist can go through.
yeah.
Um,
If there's 120 players.
yeah. If it hits the player minimum. So
Yeah.
so you're the first Monday guy into the Canadian Open.
Yeah.
But now you have to wait.
Mhm.
Like what's the 3 week?
Yeah,
it
that's
was
the
like-
best. That's the best part because then you get to wait.
Right.
And
so
then you got, I have an agent that at Radigan Sports, Chris Hill, that is my agent, and so like it's a dream situation for for him and I, because all of a sudden we can negotiate deals for whatever I'm going to be wearing and the hat and the bag and like all this other stuff.
Right.
Like,
You have time.
Yeah, we have time. It's like if you actually like Monday qualified, you don't have any time. You got Tuesday, Wednesday. You're on the tee on Thursday.
Right.
First tee on Thursday. This is a dream scenario. So you got chances to kind of collect some money and do some stuff for like 2 weeks. So that was really cool. That was a really cool part of it.
And then what do you
You know?
do? What do you do to keep yourself fresh? Or maybe you don't have to. Like, I guess, and this would be interesting to get your perspective on from like a mindset perspective. It's like, this is obviously the biggest event you've played, but
Yeah.
you don't want to over prepare for it, but you don't want to under prepare for it, but you want to do your best. Like, what do you do?
Yeah.
Like, how do you practice? How do
Yeah.
you keep yourself fresh for it?
It goes back to like what I mentioned about like learning that 1 year in 23 on PGA Americas.
Yeah.
Because it's the same format, Monday
Right.
to Sunday. It's the same.
It's just a
you-
different
yeah, it's
caliber
just a-
of
it's just
tournament, but same.
It's just a huge animal. But yeah. So I prepared honestly very well. I didn't over practice like at all. Like, cause me, I got to force myself to leave the course personally.
Yeah.
And like I did that for there's nothing to over prepare for. Like, what are you gonna do? Like,
What's the thing you're playing?
you're gonna be
Yeah.
you're gonna be nervous as shit, and you're hitting it okay. You just go out there, like you're gonna be nervous as shit. Like it's gonna be, but you're just gonna have fun, man. I'm still showing up to win, but it's like you just kind of, I don't know, man. The preparing was, I didn't even think about it. Like I didn't all of a sudden go to my coach and do more of anything. Like it was just, you're hitting it good. You were hitting it good enough to qualify. So that's
Right.
what we're gonna roll in the week with.
Okay.
Like it was. You don't have time. You get 2 weeks. You're not gonna change anything.
And
you
then
know?
how does it work with like, how do you, so this kind of goes into like, how do you scout a golf course? So you get to the venue, do you show up on the Sunday, you show up on the Monday? Like, how did you kind of prepare your week to learn the golf course, get yourself acclimatized, get a feel for things, get yourself comfortable?
Yeah, I mean, I showed up Sunday evening. I showed up early. I knew I had showed up early, but whatever. And then I wanted to be there. I was just excited.
Yeah, why
right?
not?
I get there.
Take advantage.
I get there like Sunday evening with my new caddy from North Carolina that my coach recommended that I just met. So then we hop on the first tee and just walk on, and yeah, and it was, I don't know, it was pretty cool. It was Sunday, so like things were still getting set up and everything, and so that was like a good. But then I got a pro-am on Monday that I'm playing in, like it's just the pro-am, and then yeah, you play the pro-am on. But then, I mean, there's just so much stuff. Like you're signing, like as a Canadian at the Open, like you get in there on Monday and all of a sudden you're signing all these things like bags and flags and gloves, balls. Like you're just signing a bunch of autographs. Like as soon as I get there,
Right.
just because you're the Canadian in the field, I guess they want to, they don't know me, but it's just like you're signing a bunch of shit.
It's
and
important to
you're,
be Canadian in the field.
yeah, and you're shaking hands. You're getting your locker, like, your locker usually has some cool stuff in it. And then yeah, there's just so much extra, and then everything just feels so big. Like there's so many people there, even on a Monday.
Right.
It's like everything just feels so big. Like there's just the crowds but I mean, I loved it, man. I just ate it all up. Like
That's
awesome. I didn't feel that nervous. Like you're just excited to just even be there.
Right.
Have the credentials on, go where you want. Like you're the player,
Yeah.
And I had never even been, I always said my whole life, like I'm never going to a PGA Tour event like to watch. Like I'm not. I've never done that, and I probably never will. Right? Like I couldn't stand it. I wouldn't enjoy it.
You're right.
Not because I feel like I do feel like I should be there, but like I wouldn't enjoy it. Like I would just, the first PGA Tour event that I will attend is going to be as a player.
Right.
I said that my whole life.
Right.
And then I actually did it.
Right.
Right. So it was just like this huge like wave of like taking everything in.
That's
Like,
awesome.
Yeah. So it was pretty cool that way.
And so course prep, you working with a caddy, because
Yeah.
how did caddies work on the Canadian tour? Did you just have a local guy that you would throw a couple bucks
Yeah.
to, or?
Yeah, pretty much.
So-
So there's volunteers that
And
week.
they're not really, they're just carrying your bag. They're not.
They're just curious.
Right,
They're
so
just there for the optics, like
Right.
for the professionalism of the event kind of thing. Like
So now you're integrating a team member for the to the Open. How are you? How do you guys prep? How are you evaluating the golf course? What are you looking for to kind of when you look at a new golf course like that? Like,
I mean, it's a lot of work for the caddy. For me, I mean, I'm mostly a field player.
Right. It's kind of going to your game plan. It's almost like you're just like,
I mean, I see it like, okay, there's a fairway out there. Like, we got to hit it over there. Like, guys, like a lot of people really overthink stuff, like as players. But for a caddy, like, it's a lot of work those weeks because like there's no rangefinders, right?
Right. They got
to get the yardage book and they got to pace things off and they got to know it. By Thursday, they're not guessing. Like they need to know that when I ask what the yardage is, they need to know. Like that's what you're getting paid for. And they did all like it's a ton of work for caddies like those weeks.
Okay.
Like, for me, I'm just like, I know what I'm hitting off the tee. Tell me how far it is on the next shot, and it's like, but it's I thought it was easy course prep for me personally. Like I usually know what to hit off the tee, and after that, it's just like. I just kind of figure it out. But the caddies, man, they got so much work to do those weeks.
And how is it playing for crowds? Because the Canadian Tour, there's some crowd, like local crowd, but it's not like this.
No,
it's not. So, are you like? Do you thrive in more in those?
That was the funnest part of the entire thing.
Yeah,
because like I started off decent. And then just, there was, I actually played decent. Anyway, we'll get into that later. But it was it doesn't even matter whether you're having a bad round or you're going to miss the cut or you just tripled the last hole. Like, it doesn't matter. The crowd, they just want to see some action. Every single hole. Like, they don't care or know that you just bogey the last or you're about to miss the cut. They could care less. Like, they just want to see you stuff that second shot or hit 330-yard drive or make a long putt. And then they cheer. Like, so that was the funnest part, man, is like I couldn't get down. You couldn't brought me down during that round.
Cool.
Like because you just want to give that, I like, the glory and the playing in front of people. Like that's like, I love that stuff.
Yeah. So
like, even though I wasn't playing great, it was just every hole you just couldn't wait to play the next hole. For me, anyway, that's how.
No, that's awesome.
Yeah,
like that's super cool. So was there first tee nerves on the like when they announced your name, or was it just kind of like you're like, nope, this is game time, let's go?
Yeah, I mean, players talk about that. I've been really lucky in my life. Like I don't get them, if I'm being honest. Like I get nervous with in other situations that you should be nervous in, like leading a tournament or all that stuff.
But kicking off the day is not.
It just doesn't bug me.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm so lucky
that
way
cool.
because I know players like they really might struggle with the first tee shot. Me, I don't know. It's more excitement for me. Like, yeah, I'm super lucky that way because I've heard lots of horror stories. I don't get it, to be honest. Like,
that's great.
I'm ready to go on the first tee.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So day one, you shot 6 over.
Yeah.
Day one. And so, is there I'm not sure what the cut line was, but is there a kind of a rallying thought of like, okay, like what's the mindset going into day two? Are you kind of thinking, okay, like I got to go a little more like how you played 18 at the qualifier to say like, I got to go maybe bank on myself a little more, make a run at this, or just keep playing your game? Like, where do you go?
I mean, yeah, you got to shoot. Yeah, becomes a reality, right? Like you're going to need to shoot. I knew the cut was maybe about even, which it was. Like, yeah, you need to shoot. It's 5-6 under. Like you just have to.
Right.
And then you just try your best, man. And then sometimes it doesn't work out. And then it just didn't. That's it. You just take it one shot at a time. Maybe you'll rattle off 5 birdies in a row. Maybe you won't.
Right.
It's like that's easy, man. Like it just sometimes you just got to roll with it that week. Like that week, it really didn't help that week to actually hit it quite far. Like. My driving distance that week was like, I think it was actually like second longest that week. But it's like, there's a reason for that. Like that week, you didn't really want to hit it that long. The rough was brutal. Like it couldn't have been much longer in the US Open. Like it couldn't have been.
No, I heard
like it was
they talk
wild.
about, the players talk about it, that like,
yeah,
it's aggressive.
But me, I got my LS head on 8 degrees and board stiff shafts and just hitting rocket like cuts that are great shots that are like, they're just rolling into the rough. But the difference between the fairway and the rough is gigantic. It's not just like another 100-yard shot that you're going to try and hit. Like they strategically place the pins in spots that players usually miss. Like they know what they're doing in the setup.
In the setups.
Right? And it's like even I briefly talked to Rory, like Rory McIlroy, he even had a different setup that week. Like he had more loft on his driver that week, and like he was definitely hitting these higher, more floatier shots. And like that's just being a veteran, like he knew what to do. I didn't think about that at all. Not even using it as an excuse. It was just like I would have never known. Like maybe I would have changed my driver setup a little bit that week. Right? Because it's just you didn't need to hit it 330. Like it was kind of a detriment. Like it was a par 70, 7,000. Like you need to be more hit it higher, maybe a little spinnier, straighter, right? Not knuckleball like rockets, right? Which is what I was doing. And then it's just like, par from the rough was like a good score, like any rough. Like it was brutal. But and then if you were in the fairway, it was like quite easy. But like you need to be in the fairway.
Right.
That was kind of the week for me.
Got it. So good learning.
Oh yeah, it was good. I had a great time, man.
That's awesome. No, dude, your mindset is like I've learned a lot just talking. Like it's really cool how you approach it. Like it's quite remarkable actually.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's just your positivity and your optimism, but not in like a hokey way. Like just in like a matter of fact, like this is how I go to work. It's cool.
Yeah. No, like I said, there's no one way to do it either. That's what I found has worked best for me.
Yeah.
You know, this golf is it's a crazy like individual game. Like you're never going to be the best copycat. Like people always try and like copycat others, like in their swings and even maybe with what they think, but that probably won't work for you. Like you need to find what works for you. Like, and that's the most valuable thing you can do. Like you're never going to be the best copycat ever. So even people listening, it's like, maybe you can take tidbits of what I'm saying and they might work for you, but it's all very individual to how I work. You know? So that's cool. So missed the cut there, but very positive week from the sounds of it, which is like, which is great. Now you got PGA Tour Americas, like you've got kind of another season. Yeah. Right. So did you go to Q School after that or was Q School before? Oh, May, June.
Because it's I think it's first week.
Yeah. No, I had to get my card again.
So you had to go back. So you had to go to Q School after doing the Canadian Open.
Yeah.
Now, did that feel easier?
Yeah, it felt easier. Well, and I did it the year before.
Right.
That's why it's like and like I said, in Q School, like there's a few players in the field that are like showing up to win and get their full card. Most players, they're like, oh, maybe I can get some status, or they really want to just get 25th and get some status. It's like, no, like you need to show up to win, right? And I knew I had that, so it's like immediately you have a bit of a leg up on the field, right? Right. And I had made it before, and I played so bad that week. Ended up getting 15th though. Just played really, really poor. But yeah, I got like 15th or 16th or something, and which was only good for like 4 starts that season. Yeah, 4 starts in the Canada swing, and so lost my card again. I still have my conditional status technically till June, but it's like you just roll with the punches, man. It's like you just gotta. I don't know. I've done it before. I've dug myself out of holes before. Right. And it's like, I'm going to do it again. That's another thing. You can't ever give up. Right. Like right. I believe in myself that I'm very good and that I'll be on, a regular on the PGA Tour soon. And you just, that's got to be your mantra, man. Even though I'm sitting here with, pretty bad status on America's Tour, it's like, I believe it's right around the corner.
Yeah. Well, it can change quickly with good play. Like good golf can kind of solve.
Yeah, it solves. Yeah.
Couple, like you said, rattling off a couple.
It can happen at any time, man. At any
right?
time. Yeah.
So now, so what's the plan for where are you at right now? So it's off season for you.
I mean, there's no such thing. Yeah, there's no real off season. But it's like I'm going to go to Florida in a couple weeks, play some PGA Monday qualifiers, if I can recreate the RBC thing again. Yeah. And then make some money on the minor league tour in Florida. before the Canada season on the PGA Tour Americas. So
Right, because you get some events before Q School.
No, I mean I'll play Q School, but
Okay.
I'll get through. It's just like I'll get my card again. And we'll play the whole season.
Right.
It'll be good. I'm not too worried about that. But,
Yeah.
And then play PGA Tour Q School again in the fall. I'll do DP World Tour Q School, Asian Tour Q School. We do it. You gotta do
Just
it
all the Q schools.
You got to do it all. I mean, you have.
Yeah.
You got to for sure. If it's gonna be a career, like you got to be on. Like you can stay afloat on VGT and mini tours if you're good. Like you can stay afloat, like me, like I've been doing.
Right.
But it's like if you really want like an affluent life and like a good career,
Yeah.
you got to be on one of those big major tours.
And you want to
sure.
move on with your life to the next level. Like
Yes.
your goal is not to be a local guy.
No.
So it's like you gotta make those hurdles and
Yes.
commit to those things.
Yes.
That's really cool, man.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you taking time to share your story with us.
Absolutely.
Like,
It's been a great time.
this has been unreal. I've learned a ton. And
Great.
selfishly, I wanted to chat with you because I just honestly, after going through my own personal journey with golf, I'm always just fascinated by seeing people operate at a high level and like, seeing what you did at Pitt. I don't know why. I just was like, man, I want to talk to that guy. I want to learn. Like he figured something out with himself, and knowing now the depth that you go is unreal, and it's super cool, man. Like I'm rooting for you. Like I hope you crush it. I really like knowing just all the kind of steps you've taken to kind of get where you are. Like it makes sense why you are as good as you are, but there's so many other intangibles to your game aside from your skill and the mental side of things. Like it's really, really cool, man.
Well,
Like,
thank you. I appreciate
you
it.
sharing this. But this is, and I hope the audience enjoys it too, because I think from an amateur's perspective, we're always trying to glean and make sense of our own games to try and get to, somewhat of a level that you operate at, and it's interesting just the differences of how kind of maybe some of the craziness we go to that just isn't a volatility thing for you. That's really cool. It's very balanced. So,
Yeah. Well, it's through practice, right? It doesn't come naturally. It's through practice. You got to practice these things.
Yeah. Well, no, you've been very clearly. It's been a good method for you. So, guys, check out Jake Lane's stuff. I've linked his Instagram in the description. We've also got a match that we filmed here that's coming out on YouTube as well on my channel. But give him a follow, and we're rooting for you this upcoming season, brother.
Thanks, Gabe. Appreciate it.
Appreciate you, man.
Yep.